Ahoy, ahoy! Welcome and welcome back. It has been a really long time since I've recorded anything for this channel, and it's been really frustrating, but at the same time, it's given me a chance to think about what I want to do, not just here, but regularly with what is going to become my main channel. This is going to become a behind the scenes channel, but I'm going to get more into that with some voiceovers. As you can see, some things have already changed. This new bookcase, I'm going to have some more new shelves to go here, but these guys are actually going to get packed away because they're not going to fit the new theme that I'm doing for this channel or the main channel, but also even with the new shelves coming in, they're just not going to fit. So before we get into that, I'm going to insert some footage of me sorting out the bookcases, and I'll get more into in the voiceover of where I've been, what's happening, and all that fun stuff, and then we'll get into packing these guys up. First things first, in this segment I'm putting together my very first flat pack piece of furniture that I've just something I've never done before, I've never needed to do before, so this was a bit of a learning curve. It was all diagrams, very few written instructions, which were fine in a way because I do better visually. However, some of it just wasn't really very clear, and I did have to take it apart a couple of times in a couple of places just to redo it, match it up the correct way, because like I say, it was a little bit confusing, but I got there in the end. So that's that bit out of the way. As to where I've been, since my last vlog post over on Bear Tales, I've been extremely busy. So I made the trip to America, which I'll go into in a bit. That was great. So glad I did it, terrifying, but yeah, still really happy about the fact that I was able to go. But when I came back, head office decided that they were going to promote 2 of our staff members and give them their own stores. Absolutely fantastic for them. However, that meant we were incredibly short-staffed, so we ended up doing full-time hours where it was supposed to be part-time, and there was just so much going on. Not just that, but there were other things in the company. Nothing bad for our store per se, it's just stuff the manager had to deal with, and it just got a lot for all of us, and it was mentally and physically exhausting. So I didn't have it in me to create videos. I barely had the energy to actually create anything at all, drawing or otherwise. I did occasionally find some times where I did feel like doing it, but even then sometimes I struggled with I really wanted to draw, but I just couldn't focus on what, just ideas wouldn't come to me. So I try not to be harsh on myself when that happens and just roll with it, because it's better for me mentally, and I know that, and I'm sure other people have experienced that kind of thing before as well. In fact, I know they have, So yeah, that's why I've not been posting. It has, however, given me the opportunity to think about where I want to go with my channel. I know I say recently, it's not that recent anymore, but there was a video I did of where I'd intended on taking the channel. That has all changed. This downtime gave me well, it's not really downtime at all, but hey ho, this absence gave me real time to think properly about what I wanted to do, not just the things I wanted to create. And as you can tell, if you've been here a little while, the name has changed again. This is the 3rd name the channel's had, and there's a very good reason for that. 2 very good reasons, actually. One is sometimes I do struggle to find the right names for things, so what I will do is just start anyway and then work on finding the perfect name later, and I think I've done that now. The Creative Nook is kind of an encompassing name for me, and I want it as my business name, not just business branding. Sorry. Business branding, so it will cover not just YouTube, but any time I might end up selling products, or when my book's launched. I'm thinking of Creative Nook Publishing, all things like that. And it sounds a bit more professional than the previous two I had. So there's that, and from that, this is going to become a behind the scenes and vlog channel, in theory, which I'll explain a bit more in a minute. So whilst this will, as I say, become the behind the scenes and vlog channel, I have a new main channel set. I've picked the name and the YouTube handle for it, but I won't be posting for a little while because there's a lot of work to go into it, and I don't actually know if it's going to work. I might find that it's just too much work that needs doing, in which case this will end up being somewhere between a vlog channel and an art channel. We'll just basically play it by ear. I mean, it's kind of going to be that anyway. But what got me thinking is when I was a kid and we had the 90s sort of art programs, you had Art Attack, and I think the other one I want to say was Heartbeat. It was with Tony Hart. He was the main presenter. And both of those you had interactive characters. With the Tony Hart one you had Morph, and with Art Attack you had, I want to say Heart Attack, it's not at all, whoops. You had the talking head. And it just made me think, it would be really cool to do that kind of thing. And originally I was going to just do that on this channel, just have this interactive character with me. I designed him in my head, gave him a name and everything. But the more I thought about it, the more I kind of thought, actually, this could make a really good series sort of on its own, something separate from what I had planned. And that's kind of where I've got to with this. What I want to do is have a little series where we've got a ship and a crew, and they're off on adventures, and this is the whole storytelling part, because I do love telling stories, and they would just get to go on these adventures, and then they'd create things as they went, sort of the things they saw on their adventures. That's the plan. Obviously, as time goes on, I'll get more into it, more of the details. I've got 5 characters planned. One is the character I'll be portraying, and then there's 4 others. 3 of those I've got mostly designed. One is being a pain, and I just cannot think. He's not got a name, not got a species, because the others are all going to be sort of animals. So nothing like that, but I think what's going to help is when I start actually making the other characters. So the idea is they'll all have a plush form, a cuddly toy form, whatever you want to call it, and yeah, just as I say, make them interactive, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. The first character, Captain, is the captain of the ship. He's going to be done, I'm hoping, in a couple of weeks. I need to order some fabric to test out another pattern for making bears, and if it goes well, I'll be able to get the fabric for him. The pattern will need a couple of minor tweaks, just sort of for the different species of bear. He's going to be a polar bear. Yeah, and that's what I have planned. That's why we've got all these changes going on. The second lot of shelves, which you'll see in a bit, are would affect cube shelves, and the reason I wanted to pick those was to help with the backdrop for this. I've got almost the entire set and everything pictured really clearly in my mind, as well as the intro to the videos. you know, it's so vividly there. I'm itching to do it, but I know it's going to take time. Like, I've got the ship that's going to become the Creative Horizon. The next video I post will include the unboxing to that. Yeah, I'm still organising up here. It's taking its time, but I want to do it properly. I don't want to just throw things in drawers like I would do normally and, you know, it still be there, still be a mess. I want it organised as much as I can. So that way when I come to make things, because currently my desk that I'm sat at recording this is covered in all sorts. Now this is normally the bear making desk. There's fabric paints over here. Again, that will come in the next video as to why they're there. Yeah, and there's just random bits and pieces. There's books, there's everything. So yeah, I am in the process of tidying. I know it's a long process, but I'm going to get it done. I'm determined to get it done. Just life keeps throwing things in the way. But hey ho, if it didn't, life would be pretty boring. So yeah, there's all that to sort out before I can do anything like creating these plushies. And like I say, it's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be good if it works. now that first lot of shelves is done, I did realise that with the new shelves, they weren't going to fit where I wanted them, but that was fine. Just get everything emptied out the way. They've got a new home, which once this room's sorted, I will give you guys a sort of studio tour, as it were, for lack of a better word. This space is, as I've said before, it's quite small, so I can't really call it a studio myself. Oh yeah, these instructions, they weren't worse than the first lot, but what I did discover was that they were whereas a lot of things with instructions will have English first in its own section and then the other languages in other sections as you go, but this set, all the languages were on the same page, and English was like the third or fourth one down. So I was actually struggling to try and read the German lines because I hadn't spotted the English yet, and I can semi-read German, but not enough to construct cube shelves. But I tried, and then I found the English, so it was fine. Yeah, so these were actually really straightforward to do. The only reason I ended up taking them apart was because these are wood effect. I had to have the grain going certain ways, just for me, aesthetically, it's just the way it needed to be, so I did have to take some apart and redo them, but I got it all sorted in the end. And also the little connectors have got the brand on them. So when I had to take them apart, because I for some reason I thought I'd got the bottom cubes wrong, just put them together wrong, so I had to take everything apart. Turns out I hadn't, I just imagining things, but there we go. But it did mean that I could put all the writing around the right way, because I hadn't done that first time around, because I hadn't kind of realised. Anyway, on from that, as I said, I did make my trip to America, and it was an adventure, not just going to America, but the whole thing. There will be some photos that I insert at the end of this. You just don't really want me talking over them. But what happened was, I hadn't realised when I booked my train to get to the airport that the first train I took in the evening was actually the last train to that station, and I actually had to wait till the first train the following morning to carry on with my journey. I hadn't seen that in the sort of tracking, as it were, so it meant that I had to stay where I was overnight, basically, and I hadn't booked a hotel or anything because I hadn't realised, but there was this really lovely station guard who, he was talking to me about it, and I said, this is what happened, and he said, well, you can stay on the station, not normally supposed to do that, but he also realised I was in a bit of a pickle. And yeah, he let me stay, which was really nice. Didn't have to do that. I could have just been wandering around wherever I was. I forget where it was now. All night, which, that's not ideal. Yeah, so that was the first kind of bit that went a bit skew with. The rest of the train journey was absolutely fine. No issues. Caught all my trains as I was supposed to. Made it to the airport in plenty of time. Boarded in plenty of time, all of that was fine, considering I was doing this on my own, something I'd never done before. I've only ever flown once in my life, and that was just to Rome, so it's like a couple of hours flight, not straight flight. I forget what it got. Oh, my brain's gone. Yeah, so it wasn't a direct flight, that's the word I'm looking for. Well, no, it was a direct flight, but it was a short direct flight. Not 11 hours. So, yeah, the flight there was really, really good. I was a bit nervous. Again, like I said, biggest journey I've done, let alone on my own. But, yeah, it was fine. put on a couple of films, and then when I got off the plane, I discovered, despite having a SIM card for using whilst I was over there, my roaming data wasn't working, so I could not access the internet, and I had no idea how to get to my hotel. I knew it was close to the airport, and it was close to the hotel where the event was happening, and that was all I knew. So I hadn't booked like a pick up from the airport to the hotel, because I thought, you know, it's in walking distance, I'm used to walking. What I didn't take into account, because why would you think of this sort of thing, was that I'm in a completely different country that I've never been to before. So yes, I am used to walking, but not roads like this. And let me tell you, these roads were terrifying. Okay, so some of the roads in England are quite scary, you know, especially when there's no footpath and, you know, there's blind bends and all the rest of it. This was a whole new level of scary. So this was just coming out of the airport. These roads were kind of like our motorways, size-wise, how big they were. There were zebra crossings that also had lights on them, but what I didn't realise is that the cars could still drive at you, even though the lights were telling you it was safe to cross. So yeah, that was a scary bit. In the end, after about 2.5 hours of wandering around LA from the airport, I found the hotel where the event was taking place. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go inside, see if someone knows where this other hotel is, the one I was staying at. I chose not to stay in the same hotel because this other one was cheaper. In hindsight, I should have stayed in the event hotel, not just to make things easier for finding it, but also because it meant obviously I wasn't staying as late with my friends, because I wanted to get back before it got dark and all that sort of thing, you know. So yeah, for any future travel, I'm definitely staying in the hotel where events take place. It's just gonna make life easier. Anyway, so I go inside, I talk to this guy behind the desk and say, you know, I'm looking for this hotel, can you help me? And he's like, oh, well, that's like 20 minutes drive away. And I'm like, according to Google, this is why I chose this place, it was like 10 minutes walk from the event hotel. And I'm just like, okay. So he spoke to someone else, they arranged a taxi for me, which was great. I'd been trying to avoid taxis because I didn't really want to pay for taxi. I was on a very tight budget, so I didn't really want to pay for a taxi. But at this point, I was tired, exhausted, I was dehydrated because I ran out of water at some point. And taxi turns up, takes me to the hotel. Turns out it was like 3 minutes round the corner by taxi. So yeah, that was a bit embarrassing to say the least. Anyway, so got there. I actually stayed in my room for the rest of the day. I think it was about 4 o'clock I got there, but you know, jet lagged, tired, as I say, dehydrated, just yeah, stayed in there, went to bed, slept on and off, spoke to my husband back in the UK, because thankfully the hotel had free Wi-Fi, so I just connected to that, and so we were able to talk through FaceTime on Facebook. And it turns out the reason why my roaming data wasn't working was, despite the fact of having this international SIM card, was that I hadn't bought the international bundle, which was a bit odd because bundles like that in the UK are normally add-ons to if you buy a contract. That's the way it was worded on the website, so I didn't think anything of it. I'd chosen pay as you go, because this was going to be a one-off time thing. But no, I still should have bought the bundle, but in the end it was fine. I was able to message my friend that I was meeting, say, look, this is what happened, I can't get the internet, so I won't be able to make my way up down to the other hotel. So she came up next day and we walked down together, and it was dead easy, you know, and it really was just 10 minutes walk. And it was a great time. It was fun meeting everyone in real life, you know. We got on really well, and just as well as we do online, and yeah, it was just a really great time. And as I say, so glad I'd done it, despite all the little disasters. And coming home was a little bit of a disaster. Just I missed one of my trains. I was at the wrong. It got a bit confusing which platform I was supposed to be at, and I just got on the wrong one. But at least for going home, it wasn't so bad. You know, I wasn't panicking about missing a flight or anything. So it just meant I got home a bit later than I should have done. But you know, that's neither here nor there. And yeah, it's definitely something I'd do again, despite all that. So after doing all that, I'm going to completely change what I wanted to do. Hey ho, is what it is. Yeah, it just didn't, it's not quite what I wanted, but I really love them. They do look fantastic. So probably won't record much of that because yeah, there's probably going to be a lot of me off screen whilst I move some stuff around. But yeah, it's going to be good when it's done, and that's the main thing. I love the wood effect. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, see you in a bit. So here I have been laminating my desks. Now originally this was going to be used on my old bookcase. The plan was just to use this to sort of give it a fresh look and to fit the new vibe I'd planned for up here for the workspace. Now originally I'd just been thinking of it being sort of rustic beach hut vibes. However, when I then sort of started thinking in terms of telling a story and having the ship and everything, obviously things were going to have to change. Now, obviously I didn't want the vinyl to go to waste, and decided it was going to look best on this particular desk. This is actually the messy desk I'm doing. I'd actually pretty much finished when I decided I'd record a bit of it. And that's probably a good thing, because I actually had to sit on the desk at one point. This is an old school desk, so it is quite sturdy. But part of that was because I had already put some on the bookcase, and yeah, it kept curling up and stuff, and it was just fighting me. So it was the only way I could do it. But it does look really nice, because the desk itself was looking tired as well. Both desks were looking tired. And the other one, again, I've done a wood effect vinyl on it. I've still got some more to do. I've mostly been focusing on the bits that will be in frame, certainly for the crafting segments of any videos. And yeah, I hope it's gonna look good. There's obviously the idea this time is rather than the sort of rustic beach hut vibes, is the interior of a ship. And yeah, I really wanted a dark wood effect. It's not quite as dark as I would have liked on this second desk, which you'll see in a second. But also it's a different brand, and this particular vinyl just isn't as good as the first one. It ripped a lot easier, and yeah, it's just been a lot harder to manage than the first one, which is a shame, because I really liked the first one and how it handled and everything, whereas that particular brand just didn't have the colour I wanted. So that's why I chose this one. There's still quite a bit of scene setup that I need to do. Sorry, brain froze. Nearly finished talking, I promise. Yeah, so there's still some stuff I need to make for the main channel, as I've mentioned, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Even if it doesn't work, just making all the stuff is still going to be fun, and that's the main thing for me, is just having fun with it all. You know, I love creating things. It doesn't matter what it is: drawing, writing, sculpting, and you know, making plushies, anything like that. I just love doing it, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So before I stop talking, there's one last thing I will say, and unfortunately, where I said in the intro I was going to include packing up the things I had on display, I'm not actually including the footage, and that's not just because of the length of the video, but also because I need a new tripod. The one I've got, the main one I use, doesn't tilt, which is a bit of a pain when you're trying to show something on the floor. You know, I had it as low as it would go, but you still couldn't really see what I was doing. So I'm gonna get one hopefully in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah, so I will catch you next time, but as I say, stick around for the there's both photos and a short bit of footage from the trip to America. Now, I did use Trip in a lot of this. For those who've forgotten, I will link Trip's video down below when I decided to use him as my travel buddy. And part of that was to help keep my mind off everything else that was going on and the stress I was feeling, and it worked really well actually, and I'm really glad I took him with me.
'Cause I've been living life right, like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH, country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? 'Cause I've been living life right, like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH, country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive. Nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we're making tonight. Oh yeah, we'll make it tonight. Yeah. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can wanna be that someone on the screen at last. They ain't looking inside for their needs in life. They wanna be liked by everybody in sight. But trust me, being free ain't spotlights. No, it's long nights and it's long fights with yourself all the time to get your mind right. But if you put in the work, you can find the light, alright. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go
shelves are all done, which is great. They're not fully loaded, and what's on them, as they're a bit messy because I'm still organising. What I'm doing is basically getting everything off the floor onto the shelves, so I can decide what's going away into storage, what's going into my craft cupboard, etc. One thing I forgot to mention in the voiceover is that for the time being, the banner and the channel icon are staying as they are, which may be a bit confusing, obviously, in particular for new subscribers, but the reason being is just my tablet is not talking to my computer at all. Nothing I can do about that. It's just until I can upgrade the computer. But because I've had to upgrade these shelves and some other things in the flat, I've just had to delay it. But hopefully by the end of the year we will be able to do that. Yeah, and also I haven't really had an idea for the banner. I know what I'm doing for the icon, but there's also a missing character for that, which I'll get into in another video. Next two videos are well in hand, so hopefully there won't be a massive gap between them. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.